Okay, welcome to our student development practice. My name's my name's Joanna, and I'll be your guide for today's 30-minute session. And today we are starting off where we left off in my previous session, which is on choosing themes and creating sequences around a theme. So last time we met, we looked at very popular themes. We looked at self-love and we looked at grounding. And so the notes from those kind of brainstorming sessions, I screenshot and attached to the comment section on the first video, on the part 1 to this. So because there's quite a lot to delve into when it comes to theming and sequencing, I thought we could do a part 2 and focus on some other popular themes that we commonly use in class. This is just a resource for some of you. You might find this extremely helpful when it comes to laying out your class. For others of you, this might not work, and that's fine. It's just a tool, it's just an aid. I found it particularly useful when I was starting to teach because I loved creating a sequence around a theme. I loved that creative process of figuring out what pranayama would best serve the theme, the meditation, the asana, so that everything had this interlinking thread throughout. It wasn't simply a theme that I spoke about at the start of the class and then maybe mentioned again at the end of the class, but that was it. It was very much interwoven through every aspect. So that's kind of where we're at with this. And also, not only is it a great way to do the sequencing, but it also gives you lots of room, lots of space within this kind of brainstorming exercise to be aware that what you have planned might not work for all of your students. As we know, what you plan out might not be what your students need on that specific day. So by having a brainstorm, it kind of gives you freedom and flexibility to switch things around, take things out, put new things in, without being so rigid to what you have scheduled, what your sequence is, what you have planned, because we know that doesn't always work out. So we're going to dive into a couple of themes. If you didn't watch part 1, then I'll just kind of let you know what we're going to do. You'll kind of see from last time, I put the theme in the center and then stem off from there. So basically, once you've got the theme locked in, you can then kind of decipher, well, what style of class is this? Well, maybe the style of class already comes first. Maybe you're scheduled to teach a yin class next week. So maybe the style comes first. So yin is at the top and then the theme. So the theme, self-love. And then from there, we're going to stem off and kind of brainstorm a web of ideas that we want to include in that class. So I'm just going to start afresh. And here we go. Let's loop this around. Okay, beautiful. And I hope you can see. I'll do the same as last time. I will screenshot a clearer image of these boards so that you have these resources. And feel free to use this resource to teach a class from. You use this as a class plan. Okay, so last time we focused on self-love and grounding as 2 themes. Today we're going to look at, firstly, energizing from within. So when I thought about this theme, immediately I went to a vinyasa or power style practice. So here we have, it's going to be vinyasa or power as the style of class. and the theme is energizing from within. Feel free to also kind of grab a pen and paper and do this with me, because you might find that different ideas show up for you when you think of a theme like this. So grab a pen and paper, get your creative juices flowing, and let's brainstorm together. So here is our theme. Here is our style of class. So what types of things are you going to want to teach in this class? I think about the energy of tapas. So tapas is one of the teachings, and this is about building in a fire, in a heat. So I want to definitely include that teaching in the class. I want to teach heat building asana. So we would look at shapes like plank pose, chair pose. Let's look at some of the warriors, sun salutations. Maybe you would get into some inversions. What else? Eagle pose, balancing poses. These all build warmth from within. So you have a lot of variety of what you can teach in terms of asana for a heat building class. Dolphin planks, those are super stimulating and invigorating. For a pranayama, I would be wanting again to teach something that is invigorating and stimulating. So maybe for you that's breath of joy. Maybe it's Kapalabhati. I'm going to teach Kapalabhati in this class. But as always, you want to make sure that Kapalabhati, that you offer an alternative, because that breath work might not be for everybody. I apologize for my scratchy writing. Hopefully it's legible. Okay, so we've got a breath work. We've got our asana. Let's look at a meditation. I would probably consider something that invokes moving inward, of course, but again is quite stimulating. So maybe like breath and breath sensations, breath awareness would be a good meditation, especially during nearing the end of class. This would be a great one when the body's nice and warm and stimulated. So breath, the breath sensations. When I think about energizing from within, it reminds me of the third chakra, the solar plexus, Manipura, this place of energy and will and confidence. So that would definitely be a teaching I would want to add into this. Solar plexus. Oh, sorry, plexus chakra. And when I think about the solar plexus chakra, it brings to mind the mantra, I can, which is connected to that chakra. So that would be my mantra for this class. I can, ... And you could just ask your students to repeat the I can portion of it, or you might ask your students to complete that as a full sentence. So it becomes a positive affirmation. So this is the mantra, I can mantra. Okay, so we've got asana, we've got pranayama, we've got meditation, we've got mantra, we have some teaching elements, sharing the teachings, and what about a mudra? So for mudra, let's put it down here. I would choose Lotus Mudra would be nice. That's the heels of the hands touching, the thumbs and pinky fingers touching, and all the other fingers nice and wide. And then you could have the hands, heels of the hands to heart center, or heels of the hands to the crown of the head. That's quite invoking. It maybe is a nice way to kind of end the practice. So I'm going to teach Lotus Mudra in this class. Okay, is that everything? Yeah, that's everything. Okay, great. So now we have the ideas. This is everything that we want to put into the class, but what we don't have yet is an order. So we can't really necessarily show up with just this to our class. We need to have a little bit more structure. But again, knowing that that might get switched around. For example, if you are teaching this energizing class and you show up and all of your students are lying down on the floor, that is going to say to you, okay, like these students are either tired or they're needing to ground, or they want some quiet, they want to slow down, they want to dissolve the day, whatever it is. And your intention for the class is to completely shift that energy and move in a different direction. So you might decide once you arrive in the room that we need to start very slowly. So maybe you start with mantra, maybe you start with a little bit of breath and breath sensation, meditation, and you can do all of that from the floor. And that can start to kind of stimulate and invigorate the students from that place. And then you can start to slowly move into, more of that energizing practice. If you show up and your students are buzzing, they're full of energy, they're chit-chatting, they are clearly ready to go, maybe you begin the class in Tadasana. You begin standing at the top of the mat, and you might do a couple of clearing breaths. You might set the intention and tone for the class right there at the very start, but you begin with asana. You might begin with movement. So as to kind of shift some of that buzzy energy and kind of come back into a place that is within. These aren't things you're going to know until you show up. So have that in mind. Always have that in mind. In an ideal world, you can create the plan that you want, and if you show up and that ends up coming to fruition, then that's great too. But please be flexible and open to whatever shows up on the day. So if we're deciding how this class is going to unfold, where would we like to begin? Energizing from within. I would probably begin the class opening up with the teaching of the solar plexus. I feel like this is a great place to start. You can ask the students to place their hands to that space, and maybe we come into the I can mantra straight away. From there, I would start to move into asana. This class is all about energizing, so I want to get the body moving and warming up. So we're going into asana from there. During asana, I'm going to teach about tapas and heat building, and also burning away what is stagnant and stale. And then I would move into Kapalabhati Pranayama, when the body is nice and warm, maybe midway through some of these asana. And then as we start to taper off the class, I would move into the meditation, breath and breath sensation, and I would close the practice with Lotus Mudra, maybe coming back to the I can mantra. Okay, so that's energizing from within. That's your rough skeleton. That's what you want to include. That's a rough order of when you're going to include them. So hopefully that one is useful. Again, I will take pictures of these. Okay, and now we're going to move on to the theme of balance. You've probably been in many classes where this theme has shown up. So let us design a class around this theme. So when you think about the theme of balance, what styles of class come to mind for you? I feel like with a balance class, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be doing balancing asana. Balance can mean balancing the two hemispheres of the brain. Balance can mean tapping into our yin and yang, masculine and feminine energy. It pretty much could be taught with any style of class. For this sequence, we're going to be styling the class around a hatha or vinyasa class. This is what a lot of us are teaching. This is what you're being asked to teach in your 200-hour practicum. And let's get our theme in the middle here. Balance. Okay, so here we go. And you see how kind of quick and easy this is. And you can start to kind of catalog a whole book of these, and then you can, flip back to them if you found one really worked. Maybe you're going into a new studio or community space and you really want to establish that grounding and that intention, and so maybe you pull back one of these classes and teach it somewhere else. So this is a great way to kind of start to build a catalog of sequences for yourself. So theme is balance. I know that I want to teach the fourth yama, brahmacharya, which is all about moderation. I'm just trying to make sure I spell this correctly. This is the fourth yama, moderation. So this is one of the teachings. I also know that because this is a Hatha Vinyasa class, I am going to be teaching balancing asana. And for pranayama, for sure, I'm going to teach Nadi Shodhana. For meditation, I'm going to teach something that kind of brings everybody back to that rooted center. I think zazen counting, or counting zazen, would be nice. That's the meditation where you count from 1 to 10. A full inhale and exhale is 1, all the way up to 10. If you get lost along the way, you come back to 1. If you get to 10, you come back to 1. So it's just a really nice way to kind of bring everything to that place of center. I'm also going to teach about the Nadis, because we have the Sushumna Nadi, which is that central line. Sushumna, that place that we're always striving to come back to. And we have Ida and Pingala, which are the right and left hemispheres, the right and left nadis that interweave and move through that Sushumna Nadi. So I feel like those are important teachings. For mantra, We haven't got mantra yet. No. So for mantra, I would teach Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, the prayer mantra, bringing peace to all beings while focusing on balancing the 7 chakras. So I'm going to just write this as mantra Loka Samasta. And for mudra, I'm going to be teaching Anjali Mudra, bringing that place of center back together, the right and left hemispheres of the body coming together. This is a symbol of offering and devotion. Anjali Mudra is a lovely balancing mudra. Anjali Mudra. Okay. We have teachings, we have pranayama, we have mantra, we have meditation, we have mudra. I'm going to put this as meditation so you guys know. Okay, so again, here we have our board. And like I said, there might be things that you think of that I have not included in this class plan that remind you of balance and balancing. So they might be things you write on your board. So let's imagine that we are teaching this as a hatha practice. I'm going to teach it quite slow and mindfully, 3 to 6 breaths per movement, perhaps. So to begin the class, I'm going to start with Nadi Shodhana, balancing pranayama. And while I'm teaching Nadi Shodhana, I'm going to teach about the Nadis. So this will be here. From there, let's move into Asana. And while we are teaching Asana, we're going to be teaching about Brahmacharya. There are lots of moments when we're teaching balancing asana where you'll notice your students just so intently focused on balancing and not falling that they stop breathing, or they tense up their body. They're not in that place of fluidity and grace. They're in a place of rigidity or resistance. And so it's a really nice reminder, the teaching of Brahmacharya, moderation, taking time, letting things in, letting things go, nothing in too much excess, you know, managing your energy, managing your expectations. So that would go nicely with balancing asana. So after asana, I would teach a meditation, counting zazen, slowing down towards shavasana. And then after shavasana, I would teach mantra with mudra. So I would do the Loka Samasta, Sukhino Bhavantu, and we would finish with Anjali Mudra. So there we have another sketched out class plan that you might explore with your students. And what I will say too is that after you've taught the class, jot down things that worked, things that didn't, the order of it. Would you change anything around? So that the next time you refer to these notes, you have that that catalogue of information to move forwards with. It's easy to sit and plan a class in your head and kind of try and figure out how it would flow and how it would go, but it's a very different thing to actually be in the room and explore the class with your students. So make sure you do jot some notes down after the class. And of course, you know, we don't have a lot of time in these sessions, so I'm not going to get into another theme right now, but there are so many themes to explore. And I really encourage you to, you know, when you're at the park or when you have time off or you're sitting in the sun, like take your notepad, bullet points some class themes that you know that you would just love to teach, and just see what stems from that. You already have so much within you. You're learning so much on your courses. You already know how to connect these dots. It's just when you start jotting things down, pen to paper, you realize how interconnected all these teachings are within our yoga practice and how you can bring them all together and infuse them into one class so it feels very cohesive, it feels very integrated. You can keep reminding your students throughout the class of the theme because it's effortless, because you know that everything is interconnected because you've planned it that way. So think about themes like the chakras. You could do 7 classes because we know there are 7 dominant chakras, and each chakra could be the theme of your class. Think about the elements: water, earth, fire, air. All of these could be class themes independently. That gives you, again, a big catalogue of classes. And students love themed classes, and they love a themed series of classes. You could teach all the yamas one after the other in each class. You could teach the niyamas after that. It just gives your teaching and your students more information, more depth, more opportunity to be creative, especially for you as the teacher. So I highly recommend this way of planning. If you have any other ideas of how you like to plan your classes, please let us know in the comments. We would love to hear your process. Is it similar? Is it very different? Let us know. Also, if you have themes that you've used in your classes that worked really well that we haven't touched on in these sessions, share them. Share the love, share the wealth, share the knowledge. We are all here to help and support each other. And like I said, I'm going to screenshot these. Feel free to use them in your own classes, and feel free to give me some feedback and comments and let me know how it went. And I hope this session has been as useful as part 1. And if you'd like another session on this, I'm more than happy to keep going because, like I said, these themes are endless. So if it is useful, just let me know. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.